So Elon Musk, Skynet, and full self-driving Teslas. How do all these things fit together? Well, Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla, which is supposed to be offering fully self-driving cars sometime this year. There's only 2 and something months left in the year. I don't know if he's gonna make it. And then he's talking about it being like provisional self-driving. Anyway, that fully self-driving stuff, it's based on AI. It's based on an AI proprietary circuitry that they have in Teslas, and that circuitry, as well as their AI software, is supposed to be able to make cars navigate their way from the point where you start to the point where you end. And that's an AI, and that is going to be, when it's rolled out, if it's ever rolled out, one of the most powerful AIs. I guess you can't say the most powerful, but it's going to be one of the most amazing AIs. It's going to be the AI that I guess you and I and all of us have been waiting for, rather than an AI that can beat everybody at Go or at StarCraft or chess or something like that. It's going to be actual useful AI beyond whatever else AI actually does. But of course, the thing is that Elon Musk is afraid of AI. He's afraid of artificial intelligence. He thinks that it is a threat to humanity, and that's where the Skynet part comes in. Skynet, of course, is from the Terminator movies, which is the artificial intelligence that basically decided to kill humanity in Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, where Arnold Schwarzenegger was an AI built, I suppose, by Skynet to kill the guy who eventually overthrows Skynet in the future. And it's a constantly carrying forward future. You know, that future was the past. Skynet was supposed to be here already. And speaking of which, I'm really sad that the Terminator movies didn't make so much money. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that why is a guy who is making AIs, and one of the most AIs that's going to be in the forefront of everybody's mind, worried about AI? I mean, does that freak anybody else out? Now, let me be clear. My position on this whole thing is that Elon Musk, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of him in a video recently where he was saying that a lot of AI, somebody, the moderator, the host, was saying that many AI experts are not as worried as Elon about AI, to which he said, fools. And that's really it's kind of funny, you know, because Elon Musk knows a lot about a lot. And I know that, hey, he has a company that's going to be based on AI technology. So he should know a lot about this. But based on some other videos that I've seen that talked about things that he's supposed to know a lot about, there are gaps in his knowledge and gaps in his understanding of a great many things. And I think that this is one of the fields in which he has a lot of, I think he's off. I think he's completely and utterly off, because there's a long time, I feel, between any AI that's capable of being the threat that he thinks that it is. Because it's one thing to have an AI that can beat a grandmaster at Go. I mean, we've had, and okay, they wouldn't have been called AIs at the time, but we've had programs or computer technology that have been able to beat the best chess player many, decades ago. And everybody thought that that was the beginning of a thing. We had a program or technology that could beat people at Jeopardy. And we thought, oh my God, that's amazing. No, this is the beginning of it. And again, we have amazing AI, but, aside from being able to beat people at Go, can you tell an AI something that you would tell a normal employee and it would understand and go do what you want? Not really. I mean, there's Siri. You can't even have a conversation with Siri. You know, there's just a bunch of stock answers in there, and you know, you're gonna get a system, a response, but it's not gonna be a response that's understood. And you know, even if an AI decided, okay, well, I'm smart enough, how is it gonna take over the whole system of creation of itself? How is it gonna fix itself, etc.? Of course, Elon would suggest that you know, the AI would just domesticate or enslave humans. I think he's watched too many movies. I think that AIs, they just don't have what it takes to live out in the real world. They don't. They are, what is the word, hothouse flowers. They are, you know, very used to and suited to the environments in which they are in, where they're connected to electricity, and everything that they need, or the data that they need, is fed into them in nice digestible chunks. And yeah, but a human being can absorb sights, sounds, smells, tastes, you know, all of these things, and put them together into something that makes sense to another human being. And AIs can't even do that with language properly. I mean, yeah, you can fool somebody into thinking you're a real person, but then you can't get anything meaningful. You can't get anything useful out of many of these AIs. So, but still, at the same time, I'm thinking that if this guy is responsible for making an AI that, you know, should work really, really well at being able to sense when to stop and when to go, or when to drive fast and when to slow down, in order to make sure that we survive to our destination, I'm more worried about Elon's AI. Honestly, I'm more worried about his AI. He's worried about Google and DeepMind and, you know, all of these other different AIs. I'm worried about his AI, because let's say this year he actually gets full self-driving working, and then at some point there are millions, if not billions, of cars around the world driving themselves, and some rogue AI has an idea at that point that it wants to crash all of those cars at the same time, or maybe in waves. That strikes me as a little bit more serious than if an AI decides that it's going to give, I don't know, a bad translation from Google or something like that, or if it, you know, Siri or the system involved with Siri decides that it's going to give bad information, or even Google Maps. You know, if Google Maps all decide that they're going to give the wrong address of a particular location, that's not really a problem so much. But vehicles potentially traveling up to, you know, 60, 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, holding the lives of everybody inside of these vehicles in their hands. I hope he's paying more attention to his AI, which, curiously enough, AI is a threat, but he can't seem to deliver one that does what he says that it's going to do, and when he says that he was going to do it. So why are we worried about this AI that, as of right now, can't even reliably drive a car to the degree that he would just release it already? You know, it still isn't good enough to do what human beings are doing every day. He is saying that it is, but clearly is not good enough yet. Anyway, I hope Elon pays more attention to what his, you know, what Teslas are supposed to be doing, as well as wherever else in his companies he's going to be applying artificial intelligence, and hopefully they can learn something from actually, you know, producing this fully self-driving AI that they can use to make other AIs come a little bit quicker, because I understand that this is a monumental task. You have to tell the difference between a cat and a piece of paper blowing in the wind. And there have been deaths already that hopefully have, emphasized the seriousness of what it is that they're doing. And I know that the AI has to be many times better than a human being. So maybe they have one that's as good as a human being, but nobody wants that one, It has to be several times clearly better than a human being for anybody to want it, because people are going to be very worried about it. It can't be like, a learner trying to drive a car. Well, I guess that's what it is right now, and many people are satisfied with it, but still. Anyway, at the end of the day, I'm scared of the guy who is scared of AIs, but still has to produce one. That's about it for now.